Hi guys, welcome to Dare to Lead podcast with Mary Ajagbe. As well, as you know, this podcast is aimed towards instructing, teaching, encouraging, and really just helping you to daily decide to dare to lead, choosing courage in the face of fear daily. So in the last episode, I had a guest with me, Babasola Ayantuga, a very good friend of mine. Again, I call him Grandpa, and he's with me in the second episode. He shared his story. He shared a very vulnerable part of his story, and to be honest, I really wasn't expecting that. But I mean, it's just as real as it gets, because vulnerability is one of the core things that I believe that a whole lot of us are deciding to hide, especially in these times. Everybody's just trying to be strong and put up in front and just deal through stuff. But you know what? It's okay to talk about your dark side, because it's always darkest before dawn, they say. So your dark parts are also a part of your journey, and it's okay to embrace it. I talked about embracing your journey in one of my podcast series, so you should go and listen to that also. So yes, Babashola, you talked about the fear of losing a loved one. You also talked about the fear, the dealing with the loss of your dad, and so sorry about that. That you had to do through all of these things, and you had to grow up and be the man. You had to just take responsibility without even understanding yourself, and without even putting your own needs, at the forefront of all of these things, and just becoming that person. So in this episode, I just want us to talk about, how you're able to deal with that fear, how you accept breakfast, lunch, and dinner. In fact, maybe buffet. Seems like you accept buffet. So you just share that with us, and also how you're able to deal. Even if you're still dealing, it's okay to also share, what you're still dealing, the fear that you're still dealing, and let's really just look at the other side of fear, how you're able to deal through it all. So yes, see, the mic has been given to you, so please go ahead.
Thank you, Mary, for that. Okay, so for that, I think it's a continuous process, basically. It's not something that it's way better than how it used to be, right? So that's just the truth there. And so there's growth, basically. At the point, it was just like the whole world was just coming down at a point, basically. Let me also tell you that, after his demise, after his death, I got a couple of naira notes, basically, from his gratitude and the likes, basically. And it wasn't a couple of naira notes. Let me not say a couple of naira notes. I was a millionaire at the age of 25, basically.
Wow, bro! I didn't experience the money. I didn't experience it.
So let's make our own so that I can then share with you. Basically, I didn't see the funds as mine, right? So literally, I only acted as an administrator, right? So the funds were basically just used to ensure that his wife and his kids rather. Do you know the funniest thing is that I basically focused on him and his property that he left behind, him and his property in the sense that his wife and his kids, right? I literally pulled myself all out and I started acting like I was just a lone survivor. I needed to survive with or without resources, basically. You asked me to bring that in and write what I spent out of the millions of naira, I can still tell you to date, to the last kobo, basically. But then we're able to use it to some certain things at home, fix his house, but then that's just to tell you that after that I felt like I even failed him. I felt like I disappointed him because I felt I didn't do what I was supposed to do with the funds effectively well. But that's a different story.
Wow.
Entirely. So basically I believe what I started doing was just I believe I embraced that part of that statement, basically. Then as the year goes by, and I started adding a year to my year, I started having to interact with some people. There were some decisions I was a bit skeptical of making, because it wasn't just me alone, right? I had to look at those at home, basically, so if I could make some decisions, right? So I believe I had a bonding, right? So the bonding was even way more than what I could. I wasn't looking for solutions. I was just looking for a way out, basically. I wasn't looking for a long-lasting solution, right? Just immediate response to whatever was going on. Basically, I ended up pushing into debt, basically. So how am I overcoming it now? I believe I'm currently in a space where I'm living me in this current time. I'm living as Babasola. Those stuff that I had to put a stop to or place on hold, basically, I had to revisit them, like academic, like my mental well-being.
Wow.
Basically, I just realized that, look, dude, like they say that there's light at the end of the tunnel. See, there's always light at the end of the fear. The only reason why that fear is because the only reason why the fear is there is because what you stand to achieve, once you're able to overcome that fear, is like you'll be bringing light to 1,000 and 1,000 people. And then, like I tell people, I'm not the extremely spiritual person, but I've come to realize that a chunk of the people that the devil will always try to instinct or instigate fear in their lives are people that a lot of people are attached to them. And these people that are attached to you are not relatively people that you know. It might even be people that will come in contact with people that you know, that you'll be able to affect in a way or the other, and then they will get to know you from there. So I'm currently living a life to add value, a life to realize that, dude, I can see someone who probably lost his or her dad and say, okay, guy, I'm going to be on your case because I've been there before. So my life is now like a light, right? A teacher. So I'm living as a person who has value, sort of, and taking those things that are pertinent, those things that makes me feel inferior to people, facing them now, right? Go into conversations with CEOs now, and then we'll talk, we'll deliberate. You don't need to know before you start asking me questions like, have you gone for masters? Have you gone for PhD? Would have had a series of conversations. My ability to keep you longer, right, in the conversation, even erase that part, basically. So it's more or less like now doing more of self-development for myself, basically. The truth is, leadership, the truth is, for me, God has been faithful with my students, basically. Of them, 3 of them are currently, so I said 2 are currently out of school, right? 1 is in the level currently. And then these guys are living a life that people out there see them within our community. Like, you would assume that their father still exists, basically. So for me, that is a check, a cross. You just have to just check that box, basically. So now I'm living my life the way I should have lived my life then, where I'm gonna no longer feel, not like I'm not responsible. Yes, I am. I'm responsible for their well-being, but the chunk of it is no longer like on my desk to play. Basically, my younger brother now can afford to say, Mom, so yeah, let me send you this money to hold on. Money that I have to send from the little that I was having. Basically, I'm not shying away from responsibility. I'm just saying that now that era where I had to put a pause to, right? I'm now embracing it. So for me, the truth is, opportunities will always come, right? But don't do the same thing that you did then and expect change. So when the opportunity comes again, right, are you prepared for it? We used to make mistakes or the same mistake that you made then, and then keep yourself in the same spot, on the same spot rather, as the case may be. So that's the way I'm living now. I'm no longer the child that felt responsible, quote and unquote, for this conversation, or obligated. I'm looking for this. That's why this English and this thing. But what I'm just trying to say is that their well-being is now solely God's responsibility, right? And then their well-being also is, as there's a franchise that they are responsible for, and there's also a franchise that are also responsible for, right? But it's not going to be how it used to be before. There's an adage in Yoruba, Oti Rai, Oti Tojo. He or she has gotten to a stage where he can take care of his or herself, basically. And then I believe that I've stopped punishing myself. Basically, I've stopped punishing myself. I've stopped the fact that, fine, there were some decisions that I could have made hand in hand, and then I would be working alongside growing. When I decided to stop school and then pick up a job to be able to pay my younger siblings school fees and the likes, I could have also been schooling and at the same time as well to paying their school fees. I could have done that, basically. But then, for me saying I could, now that I was unable to do so, what am I now doing? What can I now do? Doing now, right? So I asked those mistakes, if they were really mistakes, basically. So that's just what I'm currently doing to curb that part of, because the reality is I'm going to be a father soon.
Wow.
I'm pregnant.
I was about to ask that.
I'm not saying that I have, but I'm just saying that
we're speaking, we're affirming.
You get the reality would, except if the Lord, if the Lord does not tarry, right? As I used to say,
God tarries.
I'm going to be a father soon, right? And then I'm also going to man that full position, basically. All of what I've learned so far. Excuse me. The only thing that I feel like my kids might not totally get from me is the book part of life, right? To show the fatherly care, to show that I can actually be there for them. I think I've learned it the hard way. And then I'm honestly not going to make them apply that route. I'm going to make it as soft as possible, right, for them. Basically, I'm not saying that you have to go through my route before you become a very good father. There are some people that there's some people that had both and they're doing fantastically well as a father. But as it pertains to Babasola, right? I have learned this way. Basically. I think that answers a part of my father's part, basically. Awesome. The relationship. Okay, so for the relationship part, I think I just had a heart-to-heart conversation with this person. Right? And it was quite deliberate. And then I realized that, look, make I don't lie you. You're always going to be a speck. You're always going to be a speck. I'm not saying that. Well, let me flaunt it a bit. Yes, I'm not that bad. I'm tall, straight, and likes.
Serious stuff, guys. You can check him out on Instagram.
No, let's keep that. Let's keep that. So, but then, honestly speaking, what I now realized was that, when you're developing yourself, basically, when you become aware of self-development for yourself, right? All this that I'm sharing right now, they are stuff that I'm currently doing, basically, and not stuff that I'm over or I'm able to overcome to time. So when you keep developing yourself, like I told her, when I keep developing myself as a person, right? If peradventure we don't end up being together, I would obviously not be the same person I used to be a year ago when I'm meeting another person, basically. So the best what I did was just I had that conversation with her, and then I realized that I was expecting a particular love language, right, from my own perspective as a person, basically. So the fear of not getting this made me feel like that was not up to the task. Maybe there's somebody else out there who's giving her those vibes that I wasn't giving. So the fear of rejection, the fear of having to start all over again, and the likes. It wasn't like I could not afford to start all over again, but I felt like it was sort of a connection, sort of, basically. Mary, don't worry, I know you have a particular off record. Don't worry, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had a conversation, and then be clear. See, love yourself first. Basically, love yourself. Love yourself for who you are, why you're aspiring to be who you want to be, basically. Because the demand to be who you want to be, neglecting who you are at the moment, keep making you feel less of who you are. And then the fear of not meeting up is definitely going to start popping up, basically. I don't know if you get what I said, what I shared there, but what I'm trying to say is just that I want to be a successful multi-time billionaire, multi-billionaire, basically have businesses, legit businesses, have other stuff running for me, right? Then I am currently neglecting myself in the sense that I've forgotten that there's a part of me that needs to say no when it needs to say no, and there's a part of me that needs to say yes when it needs to say yes. So I've had to receive a lot of crap, right? So I would have to edit that one. I've had to receive a lot of stuff, right? Because I wasn't feeding my now. I was trying to feed my dear for future. And then if your person now is not in the right frame of mind, he's certainly going to mess up in the nearest future. So I just loving myself, right? I started not accepting my flaws, but realizing my flaws, and then how to turn them into becoming my success stories. Then self-development is key. I feel like when we identify who we are, right, it's not going to be far-fetched. Fear is just going to be something of the past. Basically, it's not going to overcome overnight, right? But when it pops up, there's this reassurance that, look, I know what I'm doing. I just need to keep aiming at it. Not forgetting the God factor, though. There's God factor to it as well. So basically, that's just it. I started communicating. We had conversations. Started seeing myself for who I am, basically, and I think that has been helpful. Still helping me.
Wow! Thank you so much for sharing that, because so dealing with the fear of losing someone, how you're able to deal, and get to the other side was by realizing to yourself that, you know what, I be speckle. Serious stuff. And I mean, that's just for jokes, but just realizing how much of a value you are as a person, and how valuable you are, and all that you carry. I mean, thank you so much, for just, being vulnerable, and for sharing all of that with us. So there are people listening, definitely. So what would your advice be to them, from experiencing fear to getting to the other side of it? What would your advice be? What would you like to, just share to encourage someone,
I'll just say that fear is definitely going to keep popping up, right? it's inevitable, but it's possible for us to overcome it. Basically, I kid you not. I have friends, family, colleagues, and I look at their life. If you truly would, if I'm truly going to be very honest, there's really nothing we can do outside the confines of God, right? There's just that level of peace. I've had to ask myself, basically, there's a group I belong to actually, and recently one of the books that they shared with us, because we read together, there's like a Bible study session, is A Life Without Fear. And then I just, at the point, I'll read the article and then I'll just drop it and I'll be like, what was this guy saying? Is it that easy to pull through? So for me, God factor is very crucial. You need to have God in this. Well, you might say that there are some people out there who are successful, who are into this and that, and they are doing very well, and they appear to be happy, quote unquote. But guys, we don't know what's behind the whole scene, what they do, how they empower themselves. Basically, I don't know, so I can't go deep into it to tell you from my own part. So the factor is crucial, basically. Then, for me, find your identity. I think that it's too ambiguous, maybe. Find you, basically. Not everybody is cut out to be, for instance, not everybody is cut out to be a front-end developer. But you can still operate within the space of tech. You can be a data analyst, you can be a UI UX designer. I'm just looking for a better analogy.
Yeah.
You can be a back-end developer. Find you. Find what makes you. Find your comfort. There are times you have to go out of your comfort zone to be who you want to be. But it still starts with your identity first. There's always going to be an outcome. This is how I stretch. This is who I am, basically. But I'm open to learning, right? Find so that you know when to say no and when not to say no. You know when to say yes and when not to say yes, basically. Then, for me, I would also then say that you might not literally, maybe you can, might not literally be able to control your circle. Maybe you can, but find people who you can be accountable to. Like someone who, maybe not people, maybe someone you can easily reach out to and say, look, dude, I'm in this space at the moment. Alpha, what you guys don't need to have a sort of a motivational or something session. Basically, it might just be a regular WhatsApp chat. Guy, I fear say this thing will happen. The guy will just tell you that, what's wrong with you? Like, get up and you move. Basically, find someone who you can be accountable to. Basically, honestly speaking, there's no two ways. There's no easy. There's no laid down process to it. But I feel like once we're able to identify with God, identify with our person, basically, then be accountable, right? I largely feel that you would start seeing across board. For me, I'm trying to create a space where I can get a mentor. I'd never believed in anything called mentorship before, right? I've never had a course to, but it is a very, very crucial thing. Somebody that you can be accountable to. It helps. It's not because you want money from that person. It's just those words of encouragement, those push. And your mentor does not necessarily, for me, this is my ideology, Babasola, your mentor does not necessarily need to be someone who is 10, 20 years older than you. For me, right? It might just be someone who you strongly believe has a deeply rooted discipline or ideas that you to life. I have someone like that in my corner, right? We don't talk every day, but when me and this guy have conversations, right, you feel like, it feels like, dude, alpha, we don't miss out on what have we, do you understand? Just please, look, fear will come, basically, right? Just basically look at the end result that you have in mind, honestly speaking, and then look at the fact that you're adding value to people's life, right? For me, those are just the feedback that I can give. I don't know how anyone, whoever is listening to this, will be able to wrap or find or deduce stuff from this, but trust me, the best person after God to put yourself out of this.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Babasola. It's been awesome listening to you speak. Guys, you heard that for yourself. In just very short words, get a community of people, or even get into relationships that you believe will strengthen you, right? Especially, I mean, everybody goes through it. We've established that fact. So get into a community, or get someone that you can be accountable to, that whenever these things, this fear, this thing that just wants to keep you in an unresourceful state comes, you're able to reach out to that person and just talk. While you were saying that, I remember, I don't know if you remember when I called you sometime last year and I broke down on the phone and I was crying. I'd had an issue that I wasn't able to what's it called? I wasn't able to meet up, and I realized that day I just couldn't take it. It wasn't like I didn't have faith. I knew something was going to happen, but at that point I was overwhelmed and I was in my feelings, and we are all like that. We feel that. And I remember picking up my phone, and I remember, I think I sent you a message, Shola, and immediately you called, we spoke through it, and everything. And I mean, it was just awesome. It was just awesome. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Shola. Guys, really get a community, or get someone you can be accountable to. Have somebody you can talk to when you're down. It's important, even especially in these times that we are in. You at least need somebody to, carry someone along, in this process or this season of your life, right? And it's also important that you love yourself. You've got to discover yourself. You've got to understand whose you are and who you are, right? And I mean, you can't really find yourself outside of the one who has created you, so it's just very important that you're finding yourself is in the confines of the one who has created you. Go back to him, ask questions, let him be the one to empower you to be able to deal. But in fact, he has already empowered you, but you just need to come into alignment, right? Also, right, so I haven't said that, get a community or someone, or an accountability partner, or someone to handhold you through your process, especially when you're going through fear. Find yourself, love yourself, discover who you are, know your limits and all of that. And trust me, at the other side of fear is the life that you desire. The life of promotion, the life of joy, the life of peace, fulfillment, satisfaction, is waiting for you on the other side. And for some, right, it won't always be for everybody the same. For some, they might have even gotten to a level where, they can boldly see how they've dealt with certain things and they're past. For some, they're on their journey. Part of like what Shola shared also, he's still on his own journey, and I believe that a whole lot of us are. Okay, so guys, again, thank you, Babasola, for being vulnerable and for sharing, with us, the other side of fear. It was so great to have you, come on the podcast to share. Thank you so much for that.
Very much for having me.
Yeah. So guys, we've come to the end of this 2 series podcast with Babasola. So Babasola, before we go, how can people connect with you, just in case?
Right back. Okay, yeah.
Want to connect with you.
All right. So how do I do that? I can actually reach out to me via LinkedIn or Instagram. I think that those social media platforms are quite accessible. basically. Okay, so I must also tell you that in between being an introvert and an extrovert, sort of. So my responses might not be immediate, but then you can be rest assured that I will certainly respond as soon as possible. In the season of massive recruitment briefs and the likes rather. So it might not be an immediate thing for me to, but then you can reach out to me via IG, LinkedIn, or if preferably, I think those are the two social media platforms that I honestly will respond to as soon as possible.
Okay, so what are your names on there so that it's easier to reach?
Okay, so on LinkedIn it's Babasola Olorunfemi Ayantuga. I think I have Steven there. Yeah, Steven. I think there's Steven there. All right, but there's Babasola Olorunfemi Ayantuga, right, on LinkedIn, and on IG it should be Babasola Ayantuga as well. Yeah, Babasola Ayantuga on both platforms.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much, guys. You've heard him. You can connect with him on there. Again, thank you so much, Shola. Thank you guys for listening into our episode to this episode of The Other Side of Again, this is Dare to Live with Mary. Thank you for listening, guys. Thank you.